My mom sedated me with animal tranquilizers for years to keep me disabled, so I escaped and slammed the door on her forever. A year later, my mom sent a tearful letter claiming she did it out of love and asking to see me again. Going to a ghetto school was like walking onto a battlefield of different diseases. You see, parents didn't want to have to pay to feed their kids lunch, so staying at home sick from school was just not a thing. And one day, when a girl coughed on me, I chose not to wash my hands. This one decision ended up ruining the rest of my life. In just a week, I had gone from having a mild sore throat to barely being able to stand without losing my breath. And my parents, the same people who once told me that they weren't going to buy me dinner because I could just eat a lot during the free lunch at school, poured all their savings into hospital bills. It was a race against time to keep me alive. It got so bad that we were forced to ask neighbors for money, and suddenly everyone was helping out, not just with donations, but hospital visits and gifts too. My bedside was filled with flowers, chocolates, all the childhood toys I never had. I'm embarrassed to say that some small part of me almost didn't want to get better from pneumonia. Unfortunately, my wish came true because instead of recovering properly, I felt super dizzy, lethargic, and could barely stand. And after months in the hospital, I was officially diagnosed with a disability that included not being able to walk for the rest of my life. I tried to be optimistic, to tell myself all I had to do was give myself some time to adjust. My plan for positivity ended up being crushed to the ground. Because a few days after going back home, I woke up to the sound of my parents throwing everything I owned into boxes and bin bags. "We're moving!" They exclaimed as if it wasn't completely out of the blue. What? We don't want to hear it, Zoe. We deserve a fresh start after all that you put us through." Their sudden tone change was so abrupt, it completely caught me off guard. I felt too scared to say anything else, so I just nodded my head. In just a few days, I found myself sitting in a wheelchair in the back of my parents' van, driving all the way from our home, LA, to Salt Lake City. I didn't even know how I was going to attend school or what my life would look like as a disabled. Turns out my parents had already made those decisions for me. With all the donations for my illness, they were able to send me to a private high school. In my first month, everyone was gushing over me in the wheelchair, calling me brave and inspiration because apparently my parents had informed the entire school of what had happened. At first, the attention was cool, sort of made me feel like a badass, but after the first 3 days, I got sick of telling the story of what had happened. I just wanted to go back to being invisible, a recluse. "Mom, things are really hard right now." I tried to confide in her later that day with tears in my eyes. "Hard? You don't even know what hard is. Me and your father have given up at everything for you." She was screaming so hard, I thought her vein in her forehead was going to explode. So I wheeled myself to my bedroom and cried my eyes out. Part of me just wanted everything to go away, but mostly, I just felt guilty. So from there, I hid everything behind fake smiles and pretend laughter as if my entire life hadn't been flipped upside down. When my mom gave me my medication in the morning, I'd tell her how grateful I was for everything that had happened, how I wouldn't have it any other way. Whenever they posted me on Facebook, I would insist on changing into a yellow t-shirt so I'd look brighter. I just wanted to be the daughter they'd always wanted instead of a burden. And for a while, it worked. I watched as my dad hugged my mom a little tighter. My mom kissed my dad a little longer. It was like all my happiness had been traded in for theirs. So one morning, when my parents weren't home and the medication accidentally fell out of my pocket and into the toilet bowl, the last thing I wanted to do was tell them. That's how I spent my morning wheeling myself to the pharmacy to get a medication refill. Except my sob story didn't work on her.